Hello and welcome everyone to our Saturday stream. This is Josh, and this is our map and image creation. So thanks everyone so much for joining us today. Hope everyone's had a great week, and for those of you that celebrate Thanksgiving, hopefully you had a good one of those as well. So we're going to be looking at some of the new stuff that'll be coming out this month for our art pack release. And I put together some. I'm just show you some of the sample images that we've kind of got going here. I want to demonstrate our use case scenario for these, and kind of go over that a little bit. So that should be pretty fun. And as always, if I do something, I use a lot of like shortcut keys. And so if I do something and you're not exactly sure how I did it, please just ask me, and I'm more than happy to stop and go over any of those functionalities. As well as if you guys have any questions at all, please let me know. I'm usually more than happy to stop and go off on a little tangent, and we can explore some of this stuff. So without too much further ado, let's dive right into this. So this month's art pack is going to be, if you guys haven't seen as well, I'm not sure if it's in live yet, but in at least the test channel, there's some new updates to the assets window in general, so we can kind of talk about that. We have a new home button and then a back button. And so what this actually does is it now remembers, hey Drake, where we've kind of been, right? So if we go into our images, and we go into like our packs here, we can now go back without having to completely go all the way to the beginning. So this is really great and quite a handy little way for us to navigate through some of this stuff, which I think is a great update. And I'm not sure, like I said, if this is in live yet or not, but it is in test. So you can go ahead over on to the test channel and try that out. See what you think. We always are looking for feedback. So if there's anything that you have ideas for, or if there's something that you think the functionality could be a little bit better, please let us know. Great. So we're actually going to be looking at this month's pack, which is chases, right? And I've created a bunch of animated brushes that can be used for the creation of like chase scenes. And so we can kind of go into this, and I'll demonstrate how this can be used here. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, the old way was a little bit cumbersome at times, getting out and then re-navigating back to find one or two images. So this should make things a lot better, and it will remember your place even. So even if we go back to, so here we are in here, if we go back to our home button and hit back, it'll bring us right back to where we were. So it will remember several steps there for us. So we can kind of navigate and jump around much, much better here. So let me open up our images here, and I'll create a new image. Let's delete this one. I'm going to do that just by right-clicking in the image workspace here, and then we can close this down. One of the other things that you might notice is that we now have a minimize button. So the way that this functionality is getting set up is a little bit easier for us to kind of navigate through. So make sure you check out all these constant new features that are kind of coming down the pipeline for making our lives a little bit easier navigating through all of this stuff inside of Fantasy Grounds. So let's move this over. I'm gonna move my my assets over here a little bit and create a nice little workspace for me. I'm gonna go into my grid system here, and I'm gonna make this 100 by 100, and then I'm gonna click on my color picker and just lower this down a little bit so that we have it. We can kind of see it and use it to help line things up, but it's not too intrusive. Yeah. Yeah, I actually minimize stuff a lot. And what I'll actually do when I'm setting things up is if I have well, let's say any number of different elements that we might have out and about here. I might minimize this and have them all set up here on the lower, and then I can easily kind of get to them. One of the great things about this is that once you've, well, we don't want to do that. Once you've set it to a location, your minimized element, whenever you pull it back, it'll always go back to that location. So I make a little row, oftentimes, of the elements that I'm going to be needing, so I can pull them up and drop them down. It's just one of the many ways that you can kind of interact with the system. So it's very, very flexible. So we can close this down, and let's go into some of these brushes. And these are just a sample of all the ones that I've created here for us. And I'm actually, let's kind of show this and show you kind of how this is going to be working here. The first thing I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go into the coastal map pack here. And I'm going to grab this water. And so I'm going to make a little water element here. We'll do like a river. I actually came up with this idea a while ago on a game that I was running, and wanted to have a nice way of creating the feeling of the rapid movement of water. And I wanted to give that sense, and keeping the actual tokens themselves stationary. So it was easy for us to manage, but had a really good feeling to it. So I think that this is a pretty great kind of compromise here. I'm going to go into my rectangle. We'll turn our stroke off, and I'm going to grab this fill. And then I'm just going to drag out here a little section here like this. And let's go over into here. And I'm going to rotate it so it's in this orientation here. Maybe we'll make it a little bit bigger too, so that we have a little bit of space to work with. Now I'm going to come back in. Let's turn our fill off and switch back over here. And you can see here how I can go back through and hit my back button until I get back to where I originally was at, which is a great feature. So yeah, definitely check this out. So now I'm going to grab one of these ground brushes, and I'm just going to drop it right in here. And you can see what this is. It's like a moving ground. So I'm going to use this as my shoreline over here. So what I can do, let's make a new painting layer. And I'm going to hold down Control so I can kind of snap to the grid here. And we'll just double click that. And what this will do, we can do the same on the bottom here if we wanted to. I'll just drag this out so it's similar. And I have many different versions of this. And you can see with this, you'll have different versions of at the same speed. So you can create like a variety of different areas on the side. But now we have this this river, and what it does is it gives us that sense that the water is in motion, like we're moving down the water itself. And yeah, some of them will make you. I've kept them at a slower pace, so it shouldn't make you too dizzy. But here, if we go into our elements over here, we can grab our little buddy, and what you can see here is now we have this sense. Let's go back into the play area over here. You have this sense that the motion is moving without having to worry about this too much, right? And we have like a very similar kind of elements here as they kind of progress here. I have sidewalks, and I have anything where you kind of have that, want to do like a chase scene, or if you wanted to do something that was involved some of these motions and whatnot. And what we can actually do is inside of some of these, we can type in animated, right, to get all of our animated elements. And we have some water elements as well. So here we have some nice like waves and whatnot that we can now place in this as well if we want to create some more movement in the water. We have ways for the shorelines and so on. So what we can actually do is kind of create this kind of feeling here. Let's go back here a little bit and we'll grab this one. We can go into our stamp over here. And I'm going to rotate this and we can stamp this in a couple of times here. We'll do some different sizes. And now we have a whole animated scene in no time whatsoever as we're kind of moving down through here. Super easy to do. Let's jump in and let's look at some of these other ones. And we're just going to be doing a little preview here. I wanted to show like the use case of using these elements and how they're going to interact with the system and how you can kind of pull this all together here. So let's grab one of these ones, something like this. And you can see that this one's kind of all in its entirety. And what we can actually do with this, and you can see that this is moving much slower. Let's actually, looks like we have and again, I'm going to hold down Control so it's nice and straight here. One of the things that we can do in this, no, there isn't. We currently do not, and the question is there a way to slow down or speed up the animation? And there isn't. And so what I tried to do in this particular time, so we do not currently have the functionality to change the rate, but that may come in the future. But what we can do, and again, this will kind of create that feeling if you were going to do like a chase scene through like some sort of town or whatnot. We can just grab our guy here and throw him right in here. And you can see it'll keep all of our elements stationary so that we can still manipulate them. And so if we had some other characters in here, I wonder if I have any NPCs. Yeah, so let's grab this guy. And let's say that, so maybe we're chasing the goblin here. We'll make sure that we're got them all. And so we can play with these guys as though it's a stationary element, but just gives us that motion, that feeling that we're actually moving through these streets as we do this scene here. And I have many different elements like this. So here we have another one. This is like a more of a modern sidewalk. And included in this art pack too. Yeah, so included in this art pack too is a whole bunch of different vehicles from many different technical eras. So we have modern vehicles, medieval vehicles, and some sci-fi ones, and so on. But you can see here, again, we have like these sidewalks. So you can do like a sidewalk thing, but you can also layer this over a road, for example. So if we were to go back again, let me just grab these guys. Let's delete all of these tokens. And I'll get rid of this. And if we go here, and we type in road brush. So here we can have like a nice, there's like a muddy one. I think that we do have, maybe there's like a street. I'm sure that we do have some. Let's, I think that there is one in the abandoned places. Let's go there. Might be in the second one. Let's see what we got here. I know that there is one because I've actually used it many times before. Might not have it loaded. No, no line of sight. You can't have moving line of sight. I mean, line of sight would work, but you're not going to have the moving of the line of sight itself. Those occluders are stationary. Let's see here. If we go into our images here, yeah, see, here's a road. I knew that there is one somewhere. I'm pretty sure it is in abandoned places. I'll just have to make sure that it's named correctly. Let's go into our assets. Yeah, here it is. I guess they're in the tiles, is what they are. But here, if we have a nice like road here, we'll turn off these kinds of things. Let's go into here, and I'm just going to rotate this. We can duplicate this and move here. So here we have a nice little roadway. Go into our images. Let's go into our chase scene here. And we can grab something. We could do this lots of different ways here. But we can grab, and you can see here we have, and these are just a few of the ones that I've created for this. But if we were to grab something like this, for example, you can see here we can set up our sidewalk and create the same kind of feeling that there is motion. So if we were to, and obviously you'd want to line these things up a little bit better here so that it seems to make sense. We can even duplicate this one as well. And let's flip it. No, not like that, but like this. And as I said, I have different varieties of these. So you won't need to necessarily have these set up in such a way where they're complete mirror images of them. But then if we go into some of these decorations, as you can see, we have some like cars and whatnot. And so we could have a nice little chase scene as we're moving down. We might even want to make this a little bit smaller. Let's change its color. Maybe this one's going to be like this. And we can duplicate this and maybe have another one down here. Or actually, let's I didn't make the car in FG, no. I made them in exterior programs. But here, again, as you can see, we're going to be kind of moving these. These should be going in the opposite direction because right now we're kind of going backwards. So we should do this. And so now we have here, we have this movement on the sides, but we can still play in this like stationary kind of way. Yes, I could do it. I could. We could definitely make a car inside of Fantasy Grounds, and it wouldn't be that hard, and it would actually probably look pretty good. Oh, yes. I think that there are actually some already, too. If we go into our... I think that I did do like a futuristic taxi once, right? In one of the art packs. Or maybe I've made it and not put one in it yet. But yeah, So there's going to be a whole bunch of new vehicles that you guys can use in lots of different genres. And I did some like wagons and some modern day vehicles, some more futuristic ones, with many different kind of scrolling backgrounds here, which should be cool. It should be a nice, easy way for you to create these like moving areas that will add a little bit more dynamics to some of your stuff. And we could even do some really cool stuff with this, as far as like with lighting effects and whatnot. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do like moving lights for like street lights, but you could certainly do line of sight with the cars themselves, and set up static ones. And you could even do like little bits of light and whatnot, and do some fun stuff there. Yeah, some really fun ways to kind of interact with that stuff. Great. So I think that that's pretty self-explanatory, and that's kind of the whole direction of a lot of this stuff that as I've been making them, as I'm trying to make them as easily accessible with as little effort from you guys as far as like dropping these things in. And requiring very little effort to create some kind of cool, fun interactions here. And I did I have a whole variety of these kinds of environments, from like that's not what I want to do. So here we have like a chase along scaffolding, and I'll include some of the static ones as well. So if you guys don't want to use the animated ones, the static ones will be available to you. But we have some nice little areas that you can kind of run through here. Great. So why don't we start making a new map today, and we'll start to build out. I think there was the last time that we streamed here. This is our image creation one. We did a regional map, right? That we finished that one up. We went over how to create like a regional map. And so, what would you guys like to make? The asset manager? You mean this area over here? Well, if you're not familiar with, there is a lot of updates coming to the asset manager. Like I said, there's a new back button as well as the home button. And you can always put this into a list component. There's a little button down here if you want it to be more in this kind of framework. And basically the way it works is kind of like a glorified file explorer, right? So these elements are just a series of folders, basically, and that's how you can kind of think of them. And you can also, anything that you bring in, you can set up that system any way you wish. One of the things that the functionality that kind of works with it is like this naming convention, and anything that you name, if you put an underscore and then whatever it is, so like map, for example, if we come back up into our main functionality here on our homepage, you can type this in. So anything like brush, for example. So anything that is intended to be used in the painting system as a brush, you can just type that in and it'll find that. This is going to give us all of these things, but if you're ever looking for something specific, so like here we have this winter brush, right, for the embankment. So you can always do a search for specific elements like that. So if you want to do like stone wall brush, and then all of that functionality will just come up here. Here's all of our stone walls. And so there's always updates coming through on all this stuff. If there's anything in particular that you'd be interested in seeing, feel free to let us know, because we're always looking for suggestions, and we're open to feedback. But yes, the Asset Manager does have lots of new functionality coming. So what kind of map do you guys think would be fun to make today? And let's lower that down. Gamma World post-apocalyptic. So I'm not exactly sure I know much about Gamma World. Treetop encounter, yeah. So what kind of world is Gamma World? Is it like a classic kind of post-apocalyptic world? Something like Fallout, or? I'm always down to make post-apocalyptic places. We've done some in the past. Oh yeah, so kind of like Fallout. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, we can do that. We can do like some sort of Oh, that sounds cool. An oversized um, house in between the walls. Yeah, that sounds fun. So yeah, you want to do I kind of like that idea of like a dock or a loading area, and we could do I always like that mixture between industrial and natural. Although I bet it is fun making it like in between a wall with like huge pipes or something. Yeah, so there is. So the question is about moving assets, right? And the functionality of possibly allowing us to control the speed at which, and there has been talk about that. Not only the speed of it, but the ability to play something once through and not have it just a continuous loop. And so that kind of functionality may come in the future. So it would be great for us to be able to do like a single run through. Then I could create things like blood splats, right? And then have it just remain the last image, so we just cycle through once, or the ability to control like the speed at which something goes. So that may be something in the future. Yeah, we've been a lot of stuff has been being pushed out in the last year. It's been quite dynamic for sure. Awesome. So let's kind of put this together here. One of the things that I like to do in this first a car ferry loading area. So like a bit of water with like some sort of device that takes vehicles from one side to the other, or cargo. Maybe it's like a gondola, and it's instead of water, it's like over a big open like pit or something. Lava. Sure. There are some already post-apocalyptic art packs as well as jungle ones, but there's always room for more of that stuff for sure. Yeah. So one of the things that I like to do is I'll kind of sketch this out real quick. So let's switch over. I'm going to go into my color fill, and we'll just kind of sketch out some of the areas here. And I'm just going to do it really roughly, but then I'll have a pretty good understanding of where everything's going to be and how, right? And so I'm going to switch over to my rectangle. I'm going to hold control so it snaps to the grid. We'll do one side over here. I don't think I have to worry about changing this stuff too much, and maybe a little element that kind of comes out like this, right? So we'll have some sort of industrial area here, and then some sort of like receiving area on the other side. What I'm assuming what we'll do is we'll make this like a platform that moves across. And so on the other side, we might make something similar. Maybe we'll make it like a little bit of a different shape. We can kind of add maybe a little bit that kind of like hangs out over something like this. But let's go into our subtraction mode, and we'll kind of make it so that this will kind of come in and then like fit in to this somehow, right? Like something like that. And then we'll have some sort of natural area over here. So I'm going to make this, we'll make this like a little bit on the brown side for our ground. I'll make a new painting layer, kind of drop it in underneath, and we'll switch over to the line. And so we want this to kind of be attached to something. Yeah, we can do some lava underneath or whatever. And I'm just going to, I want to make sure I'm not in subtraction mode. But we'll draw out some like rough kind of like ground here and here, right? So this is going to be kind of our two sides here. And we'll have like some sort of cable mechanism that's going to take this from one side to the other. And then we'll have maybe like some lava, and we'll do this so that this is nice and kind of high up. So we can do some clouds underneath and add some really cool kind of features here. Yeah, I think that'll be really cool. And we can add some jungle stuff as well. I think that feels pretty good. We can add some like that jungle foliage here and down below. And yeah, we'll do like this kind of industrial, like grading, maybe some concrete and some like beams and whatnot, some big like heavy beams, and we'll do some buildings as well, right? Maybe a little control. Maybe this will be like a little control area that kind of hangs out, and so that they can maybe it's built from an old crane or something, and then that has been repurposed as the mechanism by which that it kind of pulls it back and forth. Oh, is it similar to that? Cool. So now that we have a really base kind of understanding here, we can just jump right in and start making it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find a nice ground texture that I'm going to use for this stuff over here, right? So here I'm going to do, we can do it a couple of different ways. We can do dirt and we can type in fill. And this is going to pull up all of these like dirt fills that we have that are all kind of just like ready to go here. And you can see that lots of them are, let's see. Yeah, this is from, I think we'll go with something like this. But I think I'm going to darken it up. So let's grab this, and I'm just going to drag and drop it right in here. I'm going to create a new painting layer, and I'm going to actually what I'm going to do here, and I'll show you guys a nice little trick. I'm going to keep a clean edge on one side. We'll probably have like a road that comes up and whatnot. But what I'll do is I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm just going to drag out like a nice square of this. Something like that. And then I can switch over to my subtraction mode, and I can just, well, I want to go back to the line tool here, and then I can, I'm just going to kind of do random element like this, right? So we have this like nice rough side, but then we have like a clean map edge that we kind of have going on here. And then I can switch back over and do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to come out to about to where it's going to be. I'm going to hold down Control, and we can snap this out. And then again, I'll switch back to the subtraction mode. And we'll just kind of rough this up a little bit. We might change this in addition to later, but that'll be good for right now. And now we can delete this little sketch that we did as we were planning out there. And I think what I'll do is I'm also going to go into my edit fill, and we can come in here and we can darken this up. I want the dirt to be a little bit darker, I think. And the texture to, I think I'll make it a little bit larger, right? So we can scale the image by holding down Control. We can also pan it around to find out, or to, I'm going to line up some of the darkness along the edge over here. And I think something like that's going to be pretty good to start off with. So now the next thing that we can do is do something like concrete. And we can look for some of these shapes. We have some here that have lots of foliage growth on them and whatnot. And then we have some nice clean ones. We have some of these concrete kind of like elements here. So I think what we'll do is we'll build a concrete kind of base here on either side. And so I'll create a new painting layer right here. We'll go back into our fill element. I think I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to add my own structural kind of texture stuff on top of it. So I'm just going to grab that. I'm going to drop that in here. We also have like steps and whatnot that we can grab and use if we need to. But here I'm going to do something very similar. I'm just going to hold down Control, and no, I don't want it to be on. I don't want it to be on delete. I want it to be on normal. And we can just kind of pull this out. And again, I'm going to do this something similar over here. I'm going to do this. And then we can go to the subtraction and do something like that, I think. Now, if you ever do anything like this, you can come over into the Edit tab over here. And perhaps we want this to be back to where it was. We can just grab these and move them, as you can see. We got some some kind of like lines here. And I think this is going to work out pretty good for us. I'm just going to move this around so that it lines up with some of my edges here. Like this. But this will be like these large kind of elements here, right? Like this. I'm going to try to make this feel as though that it was manufactured. We're going to be layering some stuff over this as well. And then we'll create like a metal floor here, and this will be our metal bit. So we're gonna kind of add some stuff on top. I'm gonna keep this right now because I don't want to forget that I want to do this stuff. So let's go over now. We can do the same thing, right? We can do metal fill. And if we don't have anything like that, I do know that we do have some. They might be not as fills, but as tiles or some sort of other element here. But I'm going to go into, let's see, the spaceship art pack. We have some, that's just a background. So if we go into our decorations here, I want some of this kind of stuff, I think. Like these, and I'm going to color them and give them a little bit more stuff here. And I'm going to separate this. I want to make sure that I'm able to add elements above and below certain parts of this. So I'll be able to jump back and forth between them. And so I'll create a new painting layer here. And this is the one that's got our concrete on it. So I'm going to move this one on top. I want my metal bits to be kind of over that. And again, I'm going to grab this. I'll grab some of these and drop this right in here. This should also, I got to remember to do this. You can see these are just like seamless kind of textures here. One of the great things about using fills is that we have a lot of ability to interact with that after the fact, changing colors, shapes, and all of those things. So yes, we could stamp these out here, but the fill element is going to allow us to have a little bit more control and a little bit easier time to make adjustments on the fly itself. So again, I'm going to hold down Control, and we're just going to snap this out. I'm going to bring this a little bit over. And one of the other cool things, if I keep this, right, if I keep whatever I create here on its own layer, then I can move this layer and it will update in real time with my players. So what I can actually do is, I should probably rename this right now, and I'm just going to call this transport so that I know that, let's keep this one completely separate. I'm going to go back down to this other layer down here, and I'm going to also use the same texture to pull out a little place over here. Now we'll build like a little framework here, make this seem a little bit better, and we'll add some additional kind of elements around here as well. So let's call this floor. We don't need this one anymore, so we can delete that layer. And this is going to be ground. And we'll do another ground further down underneath this as well. So we can kind of create that. So now I'm going to go into my Edit Fill tab. Let's go into the transport. And I think I want to make this a little bit... Now I'm just holding, I can hold down R, G, and B, and I can adjust these colors, right? So I'm going to bring it to a little bit more of like a coppery kind of color here. A little bit more on the reddish side, though. We might even want to make it a little bit darker. So to do that, I hold down R, G, and B and use my mouse wheel. But that's a little bit, I think that that'll be good right there. Maybe this one will do it a little bit more in line with our concrete colors. And I'm also going to change this a little bit. And I want to make this smaller so that these patterns are going to make a little bit more sense, right, as we begin to build up this little control room. Now let's look for like crates. Let's go all the way up and search all of our images for grate. And so here we have all kinds of different options for these. Like even this kind of stuff is going to work really well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few different layers of stuff to create that kind of feel that we want, right? So I'm thinking this one is the one that I want to use. And let's go over into our stamp. I'm going to stamp this one out. Or maybe I won't. Maybe we will use it as a fill as well. Excuse me. I had to sneeze there for a second, so I turned my mic off. Yeah, let's continue using it this way. We can do our adjustments from here. So what I'll do is let's go back up to our transport area over here, and we can pull out a nice little grate. And see what I'm going to do is we're going to find this that's going to make sense here, something like that. And now I'm going to actually bring this in to the size that I want. So we'll pull this here and like there. Make this nice little grate area over here. And we have these nice little like railing kind of areas too, right? So what I can actually do is take some of this stuff. Let's go into our stamp tool. I want to line that up pretty good. So I'm going to go over here and let's see here. We got 6.3. So it looks like it should be just about like 6.8. Yeah. And I'm going to stamp that on this side. Now there's a little bit of a bug sometimes after using a fill element. As you can see, I did stamp, but it didn't do the image. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this guy and I'm going to put it down here so I can close it and reopen it. And then this will fix that problem. So now we can go back into our stamp tool. And again, I'll make this 6.8. And now I'm going to flip it this way. Oh, does that work, Scott? Thanks for letting me know. If that's the case, I'll put that in a bug report in case Carl doesn't know. Now let's go back and start to build up some of these other areas. I'm going to go back to this floor here. The first thing that I'm going to do is we have some stuff like this, right? So I have like a moss overlay that we can kind of use if we want to create areas. And if you guys are unfamiliar with this, this is you can use lots of these elements to create these little like faded areas over here. So if I were to come onto here and drag out, this might look like a normal little circle here. But if we go into our Edit Fill tab, we can actually fade these edges out. And then we can come back over into here and we can kind of manipulate the shape here a little bit, right? And then we can double click on this and it'll grab all of them and we can just kind of like move this around. So you can create these nice little textured overlays and whatnot and do it this way. We can also go into our stamp tool. And if we find a texture, one of the things that I like to use is some of the stuff from the winter art pack. So if we go all the way to the winter one. Oh, I'm in all. I need to be in just images is all I want. And so here we have the winter art pack, and we go into these effects. We have some nice textures that are all in white. And one of the great things about that is if I drag and drop this in, let's go into my tint and I'll grab this and I can match this up. And I'll lower down the opacity. And I can now add these in with this. And maybe we'll make it a little bit darker. Let's lower down the opacity some more and we can change its size. And we can create like a little bit, especially if we're going to make this more of like a jungly kind of environment. We're going to want to have some textured kind of stuff. And I'm just going to kind of throw some of this around over here because we're going to be building some stuff right over the top of it now. Always there. Thanks, Carl. And what I'll do is I'll come over into here now. Let's go back up into the our home button here. And we can start to pull out some of these other elements. I want to do some more concrete structure stuff. So I'm just going to type in concrete. And we'll have like a whole bunch of different like blocks and brushes that we can use to start to build up some of this other structure. The main thing that I want to make sure that I do is I'm going to keep that transport on its own separate layer. Even with the stuff, we're going to have some stuff above it and below it. But having it on its own separate layer, we'll be able to move that, have it a little bit more of an interactive kind of thing here. So here we have like some different blocks and whatnot, some different concrete kind of elements. So I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to use something like this, or maybe something like this. I'm going to build up some little lips around my structure over here. I think we'll go with this one. So again, we're going to go back into our line tool. I'm going to turn off the fill. I'm going to switch it around. And I'm going to drop this into my stroke over here. Now here we have the options for our corners. So we have rounded and we have a miter and we also have this bevel. And so if I were to demonstrate this, we come over here. With this selected, you can see that we get a little bit of an angle right there, right? And if we switch to rounded, we have this like curved, nice curved edge. And if we go to miter, we get a nice straight angular edge here. And so you can use those to your advantage depending on what you're trying to achieve here. So if I just grab these and we delete it, and then we come over here, we can start to draw this stuff out. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use this as my base here. So I'm going to stay on this like floor area here. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And I'm going to go into my line and I'm going to use control to kind of snap to the grid here. And we'll kind of build out some of these elements here. I think I actually want to do, I don't think I want a mitered edge. I think I want to do a rounded one. Actually. And what we'll do is we'll just kind of use control to snap. And I want to keep this side open because we're going to be using this as like a drive-in area, right? And again, I'll do the same thing down here. And we don't have to be too exact with this because we can move this again later, right? This is just going to give us this feeling that there is a buildup of things as the elements are starting to take shape, right? And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on over here. For right now, we'll get this kind of going, and then we'll switch on to the other side. And once we have a pretty good understanding about how this is going to be, we'll start to add in some different characteristics to our land. And then we'll also start to build up our lower area down below. But taking everything in manageable chunks, I think is a really good way to kind of build that stuff up. Now, if you notice, this has like a line on it, and we don't have a line at the end here. So even though you don't necessarily have to do this, you certainly can. You can grab this, and I'm just going to grab that color there. We'll zoom in here, and we're going to make it nice and small. And with this color selection, we can kind of just draw in a nice little line there to make it feel a little bit more complete. Now, those are certainly details that you do not have to do, but it is always available to you. So, and it's kind of fun. I kind of enjoy that. We also have these like barriers and whatnot. So I'm going to take some of this stuff and I'm going to start to build up. One of the things, especially when you're doing like post-apocalyptic kind of stuff, you want it to kind of feel as though that everything is kind of like repurposed, things that are in like layers upon layers of stuff as it's been added to or changed as time has progressed here, right? So let's just switch over and we can grab this. And we'll stamp in some of these guys. Yeah. And maybe we'll do some, we can find some railings. I think we'll go with something like this. This is from the Abandoned Places. And we have some, these ones for like stairs. And I think we'll go right into the Abandoned Places here and start to grab some of the stuff. Let's go into our decorations. And you can see here we have like this kind of stuff. And this is going to be great for us here. These kind of like... So I think with this being here, we're going to want to lower these things down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this and we can drag it down. Line this stuff up a little bit better. And another great thing for post-apocalyptic kind of areas is lots of litter and debris, and it's always fun to start to place this stuff around. So we can grab some of this stuff like these boxes, and we have some broken glass. And some little bits of trash. And you can see it's already starting to get that much more like lived in kind of feel. And we'll do some of this stuff. Let's do some, I'm going to do, whoop, I didn't want to drop that over there. But we're going to do, let's do some broken glass. I'm going to lower down the opacity of this a little bit. And, oh, did we put some stuff on our transport layer over here? Or is that just from there? So let's check. Nope, we're good. But anything that we do put on our transport area here, we want to make sure that we have this like this. Let's see here. How would you draw a kind of force field that can be turned off so you could see nothing and could pass through areas, but once the field is on, then you can't cross it and can see? Oh yeah, you want to do like a shimmering line that, you know how I would do it? I would do it with an effects layer. So, and that's super easy to do. I would do it with a combination of, because you want it, do you want it to actually not be able to allow tokens to pass through it? Or do you want it to be just visual? Yep. That's how I was going to suggest to do it if you don't want to. So you can do, like, effects layers are really great for this kind of stuff. Here, let's make a new effects layer. Let me just show you guys really quickly. I always love to go off on these little tangents anyway. But let's go over, we can go, one of the great things that you can use is adjust colors. Yeah. So here we have an effects layer, right? And it's going to be adjust colors. So what we can do is we're going to enable a mask here, right? And we're just going to draw a little line here, right? And we can make this whatever color we want to. Let's say we want to make it like this vibrant kind of green. And we can blur this out, right? So that it is just this like line here. And you can hide this, right? So you can turn this on and off. And we can make this, you know, very, you know, something like this maybe. We might even want to make it a little bit more narrow. And you can kind of control how much it blurs here. So you can make like this nice little like force field thing. You can also do it with lots of different elements in here. You could do it with an actual image as well and do some kind of cool stuff with it. But once you have this, you can also create, let's just create a new wall layer. And over in here, I would use a window. What you can actually do, we can turn off is toggleable and take this off. Yeah, if you hold down in the effects area over here when you're trying to work on this. Let's go into here. You can hold down Alt and you can draw any shape you want to. And if you hold down Shift and Alt, you can do the opposite, take away or add. So yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can also do it with an image. But then what I would do is go into here. I would use a window, because a window will block movement, but will allow things to see through it, right? So if we come over here and we draw our little window occluder, then I would do a folder, and I would put both of these things in that folder. And now in this folder so you can see how the image and the occluders disappear. Now the players are not going to see the occluders at all, but they're not going to be able to move through that. So it will completely block their passage through it, but they'll be able to see through it. If you want to do it so that they can't see through it as well, then you can use different types of ones. I would probably use like a toggleable wall or something. Yeah, super easy to do. Boom. Now, depending on what you want to do for your force field, right, you can do it lots of different ways. There's so many different ways that you can kind of come up with cool ways to do images and whatnot. And if you even wanted to get even fancier, you can do additional effects layers, right? So if we wanted to create a new effects layer, we could do one that's got like, I would do like ocean. So you could do some of this kind of stuff on there. And again, you'd want to do a mask. And here you can adjust some of this stuff. Or you could change this to like water. Maybe something like this. Probably lower down the speed a little bit. Maybe the intensity. Yeah, you could do snow on it. For sure. Bring down the speed. Yeah, all of it would be really cool. And again, anything that you put into this folder, right? So if we grab this, we put it in the folder itself. If we drop it in the folder, then when we turn that off, all of it, everything that's in that folder will act as a single layer. So you can do all of that stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool and fun ways that you can interact with all of these things. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to take a short break, and I'm going to refresh my beverages. I'm going to heat my coffee up. So you guys hang out. We're going to get back to making this really cool map that we're doing here. But I'm just going to stretch and take a short break. But I will be right back. So just hang out, and we'll continue along here. All right, we're back. Thanks everyone for hanging out while I took a short little break there. We're going to dive right back into making this map, so let's get to it. So I think what we'll do is, yeah, let's start to make some of the mechanism. I want to get a good understanding of how I'm going to set that up. I think what we'll do is we'll create like a thing along the side here, like some sort of wire pulley system, and then we'll have like a good like base part of it here and have it attached to, or maybe we'll do it above. Yeah, so let's kind of figure that out. So if we go into our, well, let's see here. I think there's a lot of machine parts in, there's the modern industrial. So there's 3 of them here. Let's go into our decorations here, and you can see here we have a lot of bricks, a lot of things that you would find in industrial areas. You know, we have like hangar doors, things like this, and these are always great to build some of these elements with, right? Something like this might be really good. These kinds of things. And also, let's build this out in our separate thing. Let's demonstrate how we can export images inside of Fantasy Grounds and reuse them. So I have this image creation window that I use a lot, right? Which is just another image record. And in here, let's go into our painting tab here. I'll create a new painting layer. And I'm going to build out this mechanism, and then I'm going to make it into a new asset, which I can then reuse in the other image. And that way I can kind of use it over and over again. So I'm going to go into my stamp here. Let's go in. I'm going to create like my base first. I'm going to use this object here. And so let's just kind of stamp this into place here. I'm going to hold down Control so it fits to the grid system. Now there's no benefit to that except for it allows me to line everything up a little bit easier. As you can see here, we have like these plywood barricades and whatnot that we can kind of use in areas as well. It's also great for this kind of post-apocalyptic kind of stuff here. And we have like these kinds of framework things as well. So we can start to build this apparatus here. I think we'll grab some stuff like, I think we'll do them like these, maybe? These supports. See what I mean by snapping to the grid? So now I can flip it and this will snap to the grid. If I turn this, because I've put these elements together, I'm able to snap this to the grid, and it will just kind of all work. All right, let's go back to our, and let's go to the second one here. We'll go into our decorations in here. We'll have some more machine type stuff here. Put some lights on it. There's some great pipe kind of stuff in through here. So I think in the third one is where we have most of the, we have like these barrels. But we're going to grab some of this like machine kind of stuff. So let's grab this, and I'm going to start to build this out here. So we'll do something like that. I think we'll do it like here. Actually, let's just grab something that's a little bit more, something like this. I think we can do that, and then we can use some of this to our. You're welcome, Drake. This is kind of already pre-set up for a lot of this kind of stuff. So, and now what we'll do is, and you see here we have like freight things, forklifts, and so on and so forth. But what I'll actually do here is, I think that this will be fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this, and I'm just going to do some shadowy kind of stuff on here to make this feel a little bit more like it's like a thing. And so I'm going to hold down R, G, and B, and I'm going to make that darker, lower down my opacity, and I'm going to make a new painting layer for this. And I'm going to do this intentionally a little bit darker and then lighten it. So what I like to do also is turn off my aspect lock, and then we can make this a bit oblong. And we'll do some stuff in here. Now I'll go into the layers tab, and we can lower down the opacity of this a little bit to find where it's going to work well. Something like that, I think. Let's create another painting layer, drop it underneath, and here, let's turn this back to nice round image. And I'm going to do some a little bit coming out from underneath. I think we'll do a little bit more right here. And you can see it just kind of gives it a little bit more shape there, right? And so now what we can do is we have this nice little button down here, Export Image. And so we can just click on this, and it's going to pop up. You're not going to see the window that pops up because I'm streaming just the Fantasy Grounds application. But you'll get one of your, like the File Explorer. And you can pick between WebP, PNG, or JPEG images. I'm going to grab a PNG and name it. And I'm saving it into my images for this particular campaign. So I'm just going to save that, and it's going to export that image for me. Now, if I come back into my home here, right, you notice that we have campaign. The thing that you're going to want to do is make sure you refresh this, right? So we've made lots of elements before this way. So we made like this little camera. We made chandeliers, this bowl full of blood, bookcase full of books, all kinds of different stuff. We did some chain stuff and lots of different things. So this is a system that I use often, right? We even made this DJ thing. This was all created inside of Fantasy Grounds. So you have a huge amount of ability to interact with the system and create anything that you really need to do here. So let's go here. And so here is the image that has been exported. So now I can come into here. And the great thing about doing it this way is that you get to create your own inventory of images that you can use so that there's a constant in the creation process. Everything that you're making kind of becomes a new image by which that you can use several times. So now we can go into our stamp tool here. And if we grab this guy and drop it in, and now you can see we have this ready-made image. And so this is going to be part of that machine mechanism. And so I'm just going to plop it like right here. I think here, or should we do it on the platform itself? Maybe it's part of the mechanism that's on the platform itself, or maybe it'll even be over here, or we could even use it more than once, right? I think we're going to do it here. And what I'll do is I'll build a thing that kind of comes over. So I'm actually going to put this one on the floor layer and stamp it right here. And then we can start to build some sort of transport mechanism, and we'll do like a cable that goes across here, right? So we'll start to build like some sort of structure that's kind of up over. Oh, actually, let's do like I think that let's go to the back to the modern industrial art pack. And we should have some really good brushes that we can kind of use. We can build some concrete structures. See, we have like cables. Here we have like a cable roller. But this is kind of what I'm looking for, right? Like these metal structures. So this should work pretty well for us. We even have lots of cool kind of stuff here that we can add in. Yeah, let's go back into our line tool over here, and I think we're going to let's grab this one. We're going to use all three of these, I think, and some of the other stuff as well. So I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, I think, actually. And we're going to build like a little bit of a structure like this over the top. Rust? Oh, you mean you want to add like rust to like these elements? Super easy to do. I can show you guys how to do that in a moment. I think what we'll do is we'll move this over some. Maybe we should do it a single line, actually. Like here. Yeah, I'm thinking something like that. Well, maybe we'll do... Actually, maybe we'll do it more like this. I think what we'll do is I'm going to move it up to here and then do something across like this. I think that it should probably be a mitered edge too. We want it to be pretty like rigid on the way that it, I mean, not mitered. Yeah, mitered. Like that, right? That nice kind of corner like this. So let's say we want to add some rust to this. All we have to do is, and we can kind of do this, and this is another thing that you guys can do if you're unfamiliar. There is this sample settings from Painted Object. We can go onto our floor and we can grab, well, we don't want that. Should be able to grab this image here, right? Now all I have to do is change it. So let's go up to here and I'll make it this kind of like red color, right? So let's make it red. We'll add a little bit of make this into whatever color we want for our rust. I think that should be a little bit more on the yellow side, maybe something like this. And lower down our opacity. And there we have some nice little rust that we got going on here. I think I'll move this one like that and pull this one over a little. Super cool. And you can see that using any of those textures, layer them over the top, always works exceptionally well, right? If you wanted to create, and again, if you wanted to create your own brush for that, you can just delete this, right? Grab this brush, one of these elements, right? So if you wanted to make one that's already pre-made, so as you begin to work, and then you would just build it here, export it, and then use this as your new brush. So you can always manipulate these images and build your, like I said, your own library of stuff. Now I'm going to grab, let's go back over into here and let's grab this guy, I think. Yeah. And I'm going to make a new painting layer. I'm going to put this underneath this main structure. I'm going to use this as my main structure. And I'm going to build something out over here or something that's going to kind of come over. And then we'll have like that cord, the cable that's kind of coming across here. So this should work pretty well. I'm going to go back to the mitered. No, actually, you know what? Let's do this one. Yeah, let's do that like this. I'm going to make this a bit smaller. I'm going to grab these two and kind of pull this in a little. And I think what we'll do is let's grab this and also move it down a little bit. So it's kind of like here. I wanted to enhance this and not block it. Yeah. So I think what I'm actually going to do at this stage is start to build up let's do a little bit of shadows in through here. And then we can start to add in some of the stuff from around. Do that. I'm going to grab, switch back over. Actually, before I get rid of this guy, I'm actually going to grab a color from like here, and I'm going to use this as a way to make this feel as though that we have some like dirt that gets tracked over, blurring the line between these, right? And I can come in here and also grab this and make this a bit on some of the darker color. Go like there, hit OK. I'm going to lower down the opacity here. Great. Now I'm going to grab this guy and drop him right up in here. And again, I'm going to lower down that the value of that. And then I'm going to lower down the opacity here quite a lot. Turn off my aspect lock ratio. I want to make this a little bit more oblong at times. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to do a little bit more of this stuff. I want to do some of these corners. And now I'm going to make this something along these lines so I can kind of snap in through here. And I'm going to do it on this side. And you can see just a little bit of shadow like that will give it so much depth, right? And we'll do some elongated shadows from that. And then I'm also going to do a little bit like underneath. I want to make this feel a little bit as though that there may be a little bit of raise to it, right? And I'll come up and I'll do a little bit along here as well. And you don't have to be exact with these at all, right? It's just having a little bit of that variation in there is going to do a lot. Now I'm going to go into my abandoned art package here. Again, we'll go to our images and we'll go to the first one. And in our decorations, and I'm going to go into nature. And now I'm going to go down onto my ground layer here, and I'm going to grab some of this this kind of stuff here, right? And I'm going to start to add some additional kind of stuff here. Actually, we should probably do grass first, right? So let's type in grass. And this a lot of grass. So this is many different styles and whatnot, but I think that we can kind of. I think we're going to grab something along these lines. Something like this. And these are from the Western art pack, but this might work really well too. Maybe a combination of these. So let's grab this guy, and we're going to start to drop some of this stuff around. And this is where the creation process gets really fun, as we just kind of have some we get to play around with it a little bit, right? And we can grab some of these grasses. And you can see by doing this layering technique, we start to, and I can lower down my opacity a little bit on some of this, and create more like faded areas. And the great thing about doing this is once that we have our system, right, the images that we're going to use, when we come to this side, we can just grab these images off of this ground layer. And now I'm going to add some of these on top. And again, we can lower down the opacity a little bit so we can keep some of that texture kind of coming through. Yeah, very cool. Now I'm going to type in, I think that I have some tire tracks. Somewhere. Or maybe I made them. Are they in the... If not, we can make some. This is a tank that we made in here. Yeah, I think that we did. Well, we can make some. We'll do that in a minute. Let's go into our abandoned art pack again. I want to grab some of these bushes and plants. So I'm going to do some that are down lower, like this. And then on the floor level, we'll do some kind of poking up over the edge here. Something along these lines. Yeah, it's really starting to come together now. So in the same elements here, right? We can come back in and grab our little steam brush again. If you guys don't know this, you can always grab these and put them into your hotkeys down here, and you have Control, Alt, Shift, and any combination of those for different ones. So you can build up your own little library down here while you're working. And again, I'm going to hold down R, G, and B, and I'm going to use my mouse wheel to lower down the value of that. And I'm just going to paint in, I'm going to go on the ground level here and just do some little shadows on some of this stuff. Just real roughly, nothing too precise. I'm going to do some larger ones as well, just to do some like variations in the ground here. I think we should do a little bit of a shadow right here as well. Yeah. Excellent. So here we have some of this scaffolding stuff. So on this side here, let's start to build this stuff up a little bit more again. Now that we have a little bit of variation on our images here, we're starting to create our palette of plants and other elements that we're going to be using on both sides here. And that's always a good workflow, a good way to look at it, is think about what images am I going to be using a lot of, because I can always come back here now, right? And I can just grab whatever it is that I have used in some of these areas and pick them up and start to use them over there as well. Right, so if I come over here and I want to use this plant again, I can just grab it and use it on the other side. All right, let's go back into our that industrial art pack, I think. So I think we're going to go into this last one. We're going to grab, I think we're going to use something like this. And we can place that, let's do, yeah, I'm going to use this one. So, oh, here's actually a really good thing. Where did I grab which? Oh, yeah, you grab it from down here, right? So if I go onto this layer, I can grab, so this sample setting from painted object, right? I can grab it from the image that I've already painted. So let's say I just push this little sample settings from paint object. It's a little eyedropper. And then if I click on there, you can see I just picked up the shadow that is painted over that plant. But if I pick up on the plant itself, I can grab that plant again right from the image. And this will work not just on stamped, but any of the fills, anything that we use. So you're able to kind of grab this stuff from anywhere once you've used it. So when you're creating your areas, yeah, exactly. So I can kind of build this area up, and then I know that I can just grab this stuff and use it over here as well. Yep, exactly right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go down to my image creation area here, and I'm going to go into a painting tab here. I'm going to turn off my stroke, and I'm going to switch over to fill, and I'm going to put this in my fill. And I'm going to show you why I'm going to do that here, right? And I'm actually going to grab the circle. The reason why I'm going to grab the circle or the ellipse tool is so that I'll have more points to kind of move around. And then I'm going to draw this guy out like this. Let's go back in here and make sure our lighting is off so that we're going to get a better reproduction of this. And now we go back into our painting tab, and I'm going to move this to here, but I actually want to remove this thing from the image. So now what I can do is go into this tab, and I can just move these things back. And I just want this piece. Now all I have to do is I can go into my export here. And again, I'm going to save this. Let's do this as this image here. And I'm just going to call this like winch. And here again, we can go into our campaign. We'll refresh. And here it is. Remove that little bit that I didn't want in my image. So now I can come back over into here, and I can grab this guy and drop him in here. I think we'll do it on, or maybe we want this part of the transport itself. No, I think we want it to be up here. So I'm going to grab him, and I'm going to put it like here. Actually, let's do it on this side. Maybe we'll do it on both sides. So we'll do like one here, and then I'll flip it. And the reason why I didn't want that other piece is because I'm going to actually like paint off of it the lines, right? I'm going to grab, let's see here. I want to get like this guy. Nope, that's that one. Let's see if I can find a spot where I don't have a shadow. Hmm. Let's go here and I think I'm going to grab, let's grab this one, or this one actually. I want to scuff these things up a bit so they're not so pristine looking. Perfect. And we can grab some other metal elements, I think, and we'll kind of put some. Yeah, let's do some like pipes and stuff as well. I don't want to put it there. I want to put it here. And let's maybe grab this one. I think we'll stick with. Let's try that one. We'll go on to the transport. I think we'll do. Actually, let's do it with the other one here. I think that this one's going to work better for the. We'll make it smaller. I think what we'll do is do a line here. I'm going to hold down shift. So if you guys don't know this, you can hold down shift and it will go to 90 or 45 degree angles. I don't really care where it is right now because I can move it. So I can come down in here and I can drag this out to the ends. And then I'm going to do a cross piece here. I wonder if I have, I think I do. Yeah, these is what I was looking for. I think I'm going to stamp this. And we'll do it like this. Yeah, very cool. And now we can draw out our lines there. But I think I want to do some pipes over here first. And I think that we have some nice, not in this one, but if we go back to the next one here, we have some cool pipes and stuff that we can use as brushes. So if we grab something like this, let's go onto the floor here. I want to make sure I have the rounded. That shouldn't have done that. Let's see here. We need to have the end selected. It should. We want rounded. Now I can grab this and move it to where I want. And we'll do a smaller one too. Yeah, like that. And now if we go into here in our decorations, we have some pre-made kind of pipe stuff. So here we have a nice cable. But we also have like wire like bundles and things. We could even do it as like a chain. I think we'll do the chain. Let's make it a bit bigger. Excellent. And see now, because our transport is all just right here, we can go into our layers tab and we can grab this, right? And we could move this. I'm using my arrow keys to move it. And this will be an interactive kind of thing. So you could have it like stop in the middle, have your players on there, do all kinds of fun stuff with it. It's one of the advantages of using the layer system. All right, so let's do, we're kind of getting low on time here. I'm going to go for about another 15 minutes. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm going to go into the volcanic art pack. And we'll throw some animated lava underneath this and do some stuff as we kind of wind down here. We'll finish this map next week. This is a pretty fun one. And let's do, we'll go into our fill over here. Let's turn off our stroke. And let's go over into here. Maybe something like this, and then we can go into our other elements here. We'll start draw some rocks over the top of it. And again, I'm going to do the same kind of thing here. We'll draw out some rocks. Bring this out like this. We'll add a lot more detail to all of this stuff next week, but to give you a kind of an idea. So this is all on one painting layer, right? So the subtraction method will not work here. If I try to subtract, it's going to work on both of the layers, and we might not want that. So what we can do is instead, we go to the add layer, right? We want to make sure that we grab this because if we do any size changes or anything along those lines, we want to make sure that we get that information. And then what I can actually do is with my new add functionality here, right? Go to add. I can just draw these elements And now what I can do is I can come in here and I can grab these and move these around and make this whatever I want. And I think what we'll do is we'll have to do a lot more with like the cave, I mean the cliff walls here as it kind of goes down, but that's a nice little general rule. So yeah, you guys have any questions? Is there anything that we kind of went over or did today that you're having some sort of having a hard time wrapping your head around, or is there anything really that you're more interested in learning more about? Oh, sure. Thanks, Paulette. Oh, I'm so glad you like it. All right, guys. Well, if there's no questions, or if there's nothing else that you would like further explanation on, or whatever, yeah, you're very welcome. This is a fun one. We'll finish this up. I'm excited. We're gonna do what I think we're gonna do is we go. I want to kind of expand on the way that we did this cliff. Is kind of. So here we have this beach scene that we made a long time ago. And so the way that this cliff is kind of like put together, we're going to do something similar to that, but we're going to expand on it a little bit so we get a little bit more verticality on it. And so that should be pretty fun. Yeah, you're so welcome. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great week. Hope you guys are having a great time making your maps inside of Fantasy Grounds. And we'll see you guys all next time. Take care, everybody.